Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video is going to cover the bullet points here where we need to understand the risks that businesses face and why all businesses face uncertainty, and understand why entrepreneurs take on those risks in terms of running and managing a business. So just to remind you, an entrepreneur is somebody who takes the risks of starting up their own business in order to experience the rewards of doing so. We studied the reasons that entrepreneurs start businesses in Unit 1: to make profit, to earn a living, basically to earn an income, because they can take steps to manage the risk of starting their own business. Maybe they've spotted a gap in the market, maybe they want to pursue an interest, maybe they want to be their own boss. But entrepreneurs take a risk when they start up a business. And they know that, but they do it anyway. So I think that all of this really is about, well, why would people take on this risk of starting a business, and what can we do to minimize those risks? So first of all, let's have a look at the risks that businesses face. So we could look at political risk, uncertainty through factors like Brexit. I'm talking here in March 2019, and maybe by the time you watch this video, everything about Brexit will be sorted. But at the moment, there's huge uncertainty about the whole Brexit process and what's going to happen. And we sell a lot of products to the EU, and so businesses that sell their products in Britain to the EU, they're unsure of whether that's going to be able to continue hassle-free after we go through Brexit. That's a political factor that's having an impact on businesses and increasing risk. Businesses face economic risks. So there can be changes in the economic environment, like a recession where the economy starts to actually shrink. There's less money going around. That's a risk for businesses because it becomes more difficult to compete. There's less money for businesses to make. In terms of the social environment, consumer tastes are always changing. There can be, different trends. For example, there's quite a lot of concern at the moment about the amount of sugar in things like orange juice and other fruit juices. These were marketed for years as really healthy drinks, and many people thought they were, but actually we're starting to think, hang on, is it sensible to drink 15 oranges and have all that sugar going around your bloodstream? So there can be huge changes in things like consumer tastes. There are technological risks posed from online competition. So Amazon's having a huge impact on many industries in the UK. It started off as a book retailer, but now they sell lots and lots of things, and that's a huge risk to businesses that are not involved. Changes in legislation, maybe the law will change, and that could have a big effect on business, like an increase in the minimum wage, for example. And there are factors in the environmental, ethical environment that mean business risk receiving negative publicity. So there are all sorts of risks out there. And all businesses face uncertainty because it's impossible to predict the future. We just don't know what's going to happen in the future. That means that uncertainty is inevitable. The world is a complex environment, and we just don't know what's going to happen. So what do businesses do to minimize risks? Number one, businesses can do some planning to logically assess the opportunities and threats that are facing the business, to try and take them into account and take some action to avoid those threats and take advantage, of course, of any opportunities. Financial forecasting, such as doing a cash flow forecast, might help to assess if the business is going to be able to survive in the future. Profit forecasts and so on are very helpful to businesses. If we think that we're going to lose, if we think we're going to run out of money, maybe we can do something like get an overdraft for a short period of time to help us through. Businesses can minimize risks through doing market research, so they better understand their consumers, their competitors, and they're able to make better decisions around things like pricing. Businesses can undertake what's called contingency planning. So that's when they identify internal and external threats and consider potential responses to them. So if this happens, what are we going to do? I worked for an insurance company once, and they obviously specialise in risks. So making a business have a contingency plan for what would happen if the business were to burn down, for example. What would we do? Where would we trade from? So contingency planning can help to minimize risks because we know what the plan B is. And risk management is the process of systematically reducing the chance of problems occurring. So maybe rather than using just-in-time production, we'll use buffer stock to make sure we've got enough products to sell during a particularly busy time of year. So there are all sorts of actions businesses can take to minimize risks. You need to be aware of why entrepreneurs start running businesses, what they can do to minimize their risks, and why all businesses face uncertainty.